Looking good, sounding good. Let's see who. This was an unplanned live stream, but I figured why not get some gameplay in. And let's talk about the Big Ten, man. Big Ten canceling college football. Well, canceling their fall sports is interesting to say the least. What does it really mean? I think is the question. The players have begun to speak out. They are, players are demanding to play. So the players aren't very happy. Players are trying to play some football. So what does it mean? Like, that's me personally, I don't really think it matters. I'm gonna say this: this whole thing was preventable. And the NCAA and the conference presidents and all that, to me, they're the ones to blame for this. Two L words are the only reason why the Big Ten has decided to not play football. That's lazy and liability. We'll start with lazy. They knew the entire college football, college sports in general, the NCAA, everybody knew back in April there was a pandemic going on. They knew there was a possibility that this thing wouldn't be resolved in 2 to 3 months or whatever the case. And so here we are. And instead of planning for fall sports, NCAA has no guidelines or regulations for nothing. The conferences, same deal. Few of the schools, there's some schools, being as this is a Florida State channel, I will talk about FSU, and FSU is not the only school. There are schools that have a better implemented plan in place for testing, quarantining, and all that stuff than the NCAA has issued or mandated. Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. The fact that there are schools, universities, that has been more out in front of this pandemic than the actual NCAA. All those people in all those high positions making six figures and more, and nobody could have made a plan in place to make sure fall sports was going to happen. Now, I still think fall sports is going to happen. I think, and it's kind of good to see, in my opinion, it's kind of good to see the players taking a stance like this. I'm very interested to see what player really, like a big name player, like a Justin Fields, somebody like that in the Big Ten, where they decide, you know what, I'm not going to just forego my season. If you're going to cancel the season, I'm going to transfer out of the Big Ten to the SEC or to the ACC. It'd be very interesting to see what player, if any of them, choose to go that route, right? I think ultimately, ACC and the SEC seem pretty steadfast in playing ball this year. ACC and the SEC seem pretty. They're not going to not play. It's the other conferences, the Pac. It's been rumored about the Pac-12 for a while now that they were really considering not playing. The Big seems to be the first conference to pull the trigger, even though I don't think anything is officially reported yet. So I think the rumor is that the Big Ten is going to announce it, but I don't think they have officially came out. I think with the backlash from the players and the families, the Big Ten could postpone this announcement. But again, I go back to my two L's. I already talked about the lazy and just how lazy that the conferences and the universities have been. If you planned ahead, there's no reason why you can't have a football season. These kids are in no more danger on a football field than they are out at the local Walmart. You know what I mean? I don't. So me personally, I don't understand the mindset of to keep players safe. We're not going to play football. They're probably more safe in a controlled environment on the football field, in the practice facilities. You know what I mean? Than out at the club on a Friday night or at the bar on a Friday night. Boise's just moving the ball down the field on it. But they're more in danger out in the public than they are actually in a controlled environment where they're getting tested. Like I think FSU tests at least once a week. I'm almost positive. I think FSU doing like testing twice a week. But I know at least once a week FSU tests. So you're going to cancel the season and players are going to be forced to go home. Some of them have already voiced their opinions on Twitter. Some of them come from situations back home that they don't want to go back to. Everybody's not blessed and privileged growing up. There's a lot of kids that went to college, bust their ass in sports to get out of certain environments. And now you're asking those kids to go back to environments that they don't want to go back to. There's some players that have talked about this already. So the Big Ten's got to think about what they're doing. Because to me, this isn't just a football thing, right? Logically speaking, I don't see how being on a football field is any more dangerous than going to the grocery store on a Wednesday evening to buy groceries. Like, I can't speak to where everybody else is living, but all you have to do is wear a mask in public where I live. So what's the difference? So, and then to my second L, and the real reason why the Big Ten, and if other conferences follow suit, the real reason why there won't be a season is what was my second L? Shoot, I just had a brain just froze up on me. What did I say? Lazy and liability. They don't want to be liable for anything. It's not that they care necessarily about the players' overall health. I mean, these players have been risking their lives playing football since they were kids anyway. I'm not a statistics guy or anything like that, or a math guru. I would probably bet money though that there is a higher chance of a player facing a career-ending injury on any given Saturday than a player like dying from COVID or even catching COVID on a football field. If he catches it, he's not going to catch it on the football field. He's catching it, So, liability. The conference, man, these conferences, what they ultimately care about, they don't want to be liable if something was to happen. They don't want a family or anything to try to sue the NCAA because they feel like their kid was forced to play. Even though the NCAA has been adamant that kids can sit out and not lose a scholarship and no repercussions. FSU just had a player, Jamarcus Chapman, decide he's not going to play this year. And he has that right. He's only a redshirt sophomore, so he has a chance to come back to Florida State. Actually, I won't even say come back, because he's not leaving. He's still on scholarship. He'll still be attending classes. He just won't participate in football this year because he doesn't feel safe. That's his fine, and that's his choice. So why not give all the kids that choice? That's kind of where I'm at on it. NCAA don't want to be liable, and they're lazy. As for the Big Ten, again, to me, it's a lazy decision. You're not putting a lot of thoughts into what's going on, in my opinion. What about the COVID, like the school nurses? I don't know what their proper title is, but there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of teams and people working with the universities to help test and keep the players safe. Well, now you're gonna cut them out of a job. So there's just a lot of. I might lose. Look at this. I can't even get nothing going here. So there's a lot of really moving pieces with this. I'm still not worried about a college football season, to be honest with you. I think it will be played. I think the fear from the Big Ten, I think the fear is they don't want to be the conference that, right? So there's a double edged sword with it, right? You don't want to be the conference that jumps the gun and cancels a college football season because you're canceling a lot of jobs. There's a lot that goes into that decision. But you also don't want to be, come on, serious. You also don't want to be that guy or that conference that it's too late to act, right? God forbid, because I don't think this is going to happen, right? God forbid the pandemic does start sweeping again around college sports. And instead of just schools here and there, an entire conference comes down, like 6 or 8 teams in a conference pops up with COVID, right? God forbid that happens. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, that happened. You don't want to be the conference president that was late to act. So that's all it is. People are scared to they don't want to be held liable, so they're gonna I guess it's kind of like better safe than sorry type of deal. So yeah, the Big Ten is rumored. I don't think anything's been officially announced though. I could be wrong on that. But the Big Ten is rumored to be canceling their college football season. Sandra, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Just talking a little bit of college football and everything else, but I thank you for tuning in. But yeah. That's really what's going on right now in college football. I think people are just are trying to they're jumping the gun. I think the Big Ten's jumping the gun. I think it's gonna be very interesting. Um, I think it's gonna be very interesting to see if one of these players or some of these players decide, well, since you're gonna not let us play football, I'm gonna go to one of these conferences that do play football. I think that's gonna be very interesting to watch. And I think there's a possibility that it happens, man. How crazy would it be for Justin Fields or just one of the big name players in the big to say, like, how would the NCAA react to that? And that's the yeah, about to lose the Boise, man. Rose, Big 12 and Pac-12 canceling tomorrow, supposedly. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Rose. You're welcome. They said it this morning on the news that the Big Ten have canceled. Yeah. And so I know Pac-12 was being rumored for a long time to really be ready to cancel it. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it goes forward from here. Because from all I'm hearing, that the ACC and the SEC have no plans to cancel. So one thing's for sure. Let's say this. One thing's definitely for sure. Whatever we do see as far as college football wise this season, it is not going to be what we're used to. It's going to be something totally different. I do not expect like a national champion this year. I don't even if that's the off chance. I won't say the off chance because I think the ACC is gonna play. I think the SEC is gonna play. Big 12 seems to be ready to play too. But the off chance that just those three conferences play football, the most you'll probably have. Don't expect any bowl games. None of that. There will be no official national champion this year. Basically, if these kids play this year, they will be playing for the love of the game and raising their draft stock. But there won't be any real champions. I mean, conference championships, I guess, will still be a thing. Um, but there won't be much in terms of the way of like a national recognition for any of this. It's very weird to me that the Big Ten, not the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are jumping the gun. Again, to me, you had since April to plan for a way for college sports to be had. It doesn't make any sense to cancel because you had all this time to really figure out what the hell you were going to do and implement some real plans in place to really have a football season. And granted, we're all obviously football fans. That's why we're here. But and this isn't about to me, just my personal opinion. I don't see where the kids are in any more danger on a football field than they are if they go to a restaurant on a Wednesday night or a Saturday night in Tallahassee or in Athens, Georgia, or in Clemson, South Carolina. You know what I mean? They're probably more in danger in those situations than they are playing football in a controlled environment on a Saturday afternoon or evening. Let's go to the comments for a second. FSU fans tagging Justin Fields on Twitter, telling him to come to Tallahassee. I don't think that's not going to happen, but it's going to be very interesting to see if one of those players makes the jump, Rose. I until I guess I don't know, like the ACC and SEC. I think that the Big 12 are like the only conferences that have announced schedules. They seem to be all in on playing football this year, so you might see some transfers from the Pac-12. If some of those kids really want to play ball, you might get it. I think what we are witnessing may be the downfall of the NCAA here in the near future. I think this situation, and I read a pretty good article on it a week ago. This situation is gonna eventually, in my opinion, lead to the split of the Big Five, the Power Five, and the NCAA, and the Power Five is gonna end up starting to do their own thing in all aspects of sports because the Power Five is beginning to think the NCAA is incompetent, and I agree with them. They are incompetent. Jalen, did you get the rosters I told you about, Pope? No, Jalen, you never sent me I never did. But I can get that from you. Are the players wearing face shields? I think they are. I know FSU players, they've already said they've been practicing with them. And it takes a little bit of time to get used to, a little bit harder to breathe, but the players said that, they've been already starting to practice with the face shields. Have a blessed day, Pope. Just stopping by. Thanks, Andrew, for tuning in. Again, thank you for the support. But, yep, that's all we got. Again, Jamarcus Chapman has decided to sit out this year as well, as far as Florida State players. Oh, I'm 14. Yeah, I need to put all the face shields on all my players. But no, not all of them are. I think Corbin wears one. Hell, I don't know. I didn't go in and edit everybody like that. I'm just trying to get back in the game. I'm down 14-0 on Boise. So, but yeah, I think if the kids want to play, man, let them play. And those that don't want to play have already pretty much opted out. Big college kids, like big names like Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, a lot of these kids have already spoke out and said, let us play if we want to play. What I think what you are going to see and what you're going to start seeing is the demise of the NCAA as we currently know it. Because to me, all of this reeks a ton of incompetence, and that's where we're at right now, in my opinion. A ton of incompetence is what I'm seeing from the NCAA. How hard is it to mandate every university, every conference? How hard is it to mandate if you want to play football this season? Guess what? A minimum of 2 tests per week. And I mean, just like I can sit here and come up with some sort of plan. So the big guns in the NCAA should be able to sit down and with some like legit doctors and all those people that would go into making the decision. How hard is it to get all those people in a room and say, hey, what do we do in this situation? Again, minimum of 2 tests per week. Kids, quarantining or whatever on game day. You can only go from the hotel to the bus to the stadium and back. Like, man, you can do it. If the NBA can figure out a way to keep these guys in the bubble. Now, granted, these players are college players and they still have class, but let's be honest. Let's be honest to ourselves. Let's be honest to everybody. These kids are college players in name only. They're amateurs in name only. These kids practice like professional athletes. They work out like professional athletes. They train. They eat. They travel. They do everything the professional athlete does. They just don't make the money the athlete does. So don't tell me you can't implement similar plans that the NBA or the NFL are going to be working with and let these kids play ball if they want to play ball. Believe me, there's a lot riding for a lot of these kids. Marvin Wilson, for example. Marvin Wilson could be on an NFL roster right now. But he came back. Ultimately, he came back to probably improve his draft stock. But, he has his reasons for coming back. But, Marv can't afford to not play. A lot of these, and Trevor Lawrence, there's a lot of guys that can't afford to not play. There's millions at stake. Granted, a guy like Trevor Lawrence is going to be the first quarterback most likely. He's going to get paid regardless. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot going in to a lot of this. Come on. They want to play. The coaches want to play. What's up, Tyler, man? Good to see you. But yeah, Tyler, if they want to play, how hard is it to implement the safety precautions to allow them to play? My legit question, if anybody who's currently watching or whatever, if you don't agree, right, if you think that the players for their own safety should not be allowed to play, you have a right to think that. But my question for you is, how is the football field any more dangerous than the local restaurant or movie theater? Or, because in a state like Florida, they can go wherever they want to go. And so explain to me, and some states aren't even mandating masks. Like Hawaii mandates masks in every public store or whatever. You don't wear a mask, you're not going to get in. But how is the football field, just because you're close to somebody, any more dangerous than those places that I'm talking about? That's my question to the people that's saying for the player safety, they don't need a season. I don't understand it. Rand almost got it. I don't understand it. Again, but that's my opinion on it. If you do the proper testing, checking temperatures before all of that stuff. If you do all of that before a game, what's the likelihood that one of those players are going to be test positive for COVID? Like, you know what I mean? I think people are in high positions are making too much money to be making dumb decisions. But if you want to hear, man, hit the like button. Thanks for tuning in. Just a little. Decided to do some gameplay and talk about just, the breaking news that's been going on right now in college football. So, No Night will still be going on tomorrow, so we'll definitely talk more about it on No Night tomorrow. But I want to do my own thing here. Plus, I owe everybody a game. I got to get the new season revamped after deleting the old one. So I got to get this one started. So probably gonna see a lot more streams. I kind of like doing the streams a little better than. Oh no, I'm running out of time. Come on. Bro, come on. That animation. Okay. So down 7 going into halftime. I kind of like doing these more than just recording the videos. So you probably see a lot more live streams like this. It's their health, it's their body, it's their decision. Make them sign a waiver if they want to play. It's not that hard. I think most of the kids will, 1, be willing to sign a waiver. 2, again, this is my opinion. I'm not a statistics guy. But I personally believe, and I could be wrong, there's probably a higher chance of Corey Wren blowing his knee out and never being able to play football again than Corey Wren getting deathly ill from COVID-19 on a football field. I don't believe Corey Wren's going to catch COVID on a football field. If Corey Wren catches COVID, it's going to be because he was out in Tallahassee at a frat party or something crazy like that. That's where he's going to catch it. He ain't going to catch it in between those hashes at that 50-yard line. And that's not where he's going to catch it at. Now, he might blow his knee out. It's more likely Corey Wren to have a career-ending injury on a football field than catching COVID-19. And yes, it is their health. If they want to play, if people like refs want to ref, I know there's a big decision in all of this going on because if you have a game, you got to have refs, right? You got to have ball boys. You got to have the chain game. There's a big thing going into it. But if all those people want to do it, who are the NCAA to say no? You're already giving players the option of not playing. That's just me, though. Plus, these colleges are having classes in season, so I don't know how. Yeah, exactly. These kids are coming back on campus, so explain to me how any of it makes sense. Now, I know here in Hawaii, right, they've postponed public school, I believe, until December. So my daughter was supposed to start school, I think, this week. They postponed it till like December. And Hawaii's Hawaii's a small island. And for the last week, they've been having triple digit numbers daily. So being a small island, they're panicking. Anytime these numbers get into the hundreds is when Hawaii starts panicking. So that's happening here. So, just so much to go into it. I believe that if the universities and so forth did everything responsibly, I don't think the players would have a single problem playing football. What I mean by that is if they felt like there was proper FSU players have spoken on it. So if you haven't been paying attention, FSU starting practice, and there's been we can talk about that too after I quit ranting on the NCAA. But FSU players have been talking to the media lately, and then one of the things FSU players talk about is how they feel FSU is doing too much when it comes to COVID. Right? I'll say this about Florida State, and obviously this is the team I cover, so I'm more privy to that information. Let's go, Woodbury! Let's go! Let's go! My bad. So I'm more privy to Florida State. But Florida State to me has been almost the standard bearer. They have been, in my opinion, the pinnacle of this COVID stuff. I personally only know of Andrew Baselli as the only Florida State player to have had COVID. Remember, Clemson had 30 some odd players test positive or something, and there's been breakouts and other. Florida State seems to has been all but untouched by this, and that goes to what these players are saying in their interviews, where they're like, "Man, the staff and the school is really on us with testing and masks and distancing." So if Florida State can do it, as a matter of fact, I won't even just say Florida State. Look at the entire state of Florida. Florida is known as the hot zone when it comes to COVID, right? It's like the epicenter. 10,000 cases a day or something crazy like that. Crazy numbers are coming out of Florida. Yet the universities, UF, Miami, FSU, in my opinion, from what I've seen, relatively untouched. Right or wrong. They've been relatively untouched by this disease. Why is that? I can speak from a Florida State perspective because Florida State has been on top of everything. So if FSU can do it as one institution, why can't an entire conference do it? And if a team is found breaking protocol to get players on the field, then you give them the death penalty. That's right, I'm going to say it. You put them on a 5-year probation, take scout, you destroy them to send a message. All this stuff is possible. If you care that much, do it that way. I bet a school, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on with these people and their decision making. We'll see how long the cancellation lasts. I just have my doubts on it. I know the Big 12 and the Pac-12 seem to want to cancel the season, and they have maybe announced it, but I think if you get ACC and the SEC started, and once these conferences start seeing stuff and reports start coming in, and if numbers stay down, you might see the Big and Pac-12 try to kick up football or something. It's possible. What we got here? Nothing is final yet, right? Last I heard, ACC. Yeah, Tyler. Nothing is. So the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are the only two conferences that have announced. So the NCAA hasn't canceled anything as far as as a whole, right? That's a conference decision that the Big Ten is doing and the Pac-12 is doing. ACC and the SEC, I think, and the Big 12 have all been fully committed to playing football. So I don't know if, right? I don't know if the NCAA, they plan on stepping in here and saying no. I don't think they have the power to make the Big Ten play football, right? I think they have the power to cancel fall sports, but I don't think they have the power to make a conference play. So unless the NCAA comes in and cancels all sports, I think they're leaving it up to the conferences, and the ACC, the SEC, they've been steadfast on playing ball. So, yeah. I'm going to write that down, Jalen, and I'm going to get that roster up off you. Appreciate it, big homie. But yeah. In some positive news, let's talk about some Florida State stuff, right? FSU's putting on the pads. I saw interviews with Coach Atkins, Coach Marv. They interviewed all the quarterbacks, which I thought is interesting, right? I said this before, and I'll say it again. Coach, when it comes to this quarterbacking thing, I don't think Norvell and company's trying to talk about. I was just getting on that, Tyler, but I don't think Coach Norvell, I don't think Dillingham. They're trying to tip. They're not going to tip their hand on this quarterback stuff. So we got to. You got to. The media got to talk to all four, like all the quarterbacks, the freshmen and the guys that have already been here. And ooh, that was a terrible throw. So we got to talk to them. They just put on pads. I believe Friday was the first day they threw on the pads. And I believe they practiced through the weekend as well. So at least as far as like practicing and stuff, FSU seems to be in a good place. Happy to talk about that for sure. Chuba is going to start. You think so? So, from what I haven't really watched too much of the practice footage, but I did watch most of the interviews, especially the ones that I was really interested in. Right? I gotta really see how these guys look. Now, from what I heard Black has looked. Now, I'll say this: I saw some throw. I did watch some practice, some footage of some quarterbacks. I saw some throws from Black. Black has tightened up his throwing motion a ton. I saw some footage of James Blackman, and that release, he doesn't have that long wind-up throwing motion no more. I'm talking about he was zipping the ball out of his hand. So I don't know who got a hold of James Blackman and fixed that release, but I'm going to say this. If he's more accurate, it's a chance, and I might not be too much against it, that Black might be the guy. And I'm just talking from the brief footage I saw. I would try to find it. Black was throwing that ball, and that thing was Miko. That thing was zipping out of his hands. Tyler said Kano looking good. Jerry Jones. Yeah, I've heard good. I heard Jerry Jones has been pretty impressive. I have heard that. Miko looked good, and also some freshman receivers stood out. I know Brian Robinson's a beast. Man, I saw another clip of Tamarion Terry. He doesn't look like he's lost a step with that weight. Doesn't look like he lost a step. Might even look faster. I saw a catch from Kentron. I did see Kentron Poirier make a catch. What we haven't seen, or what I haven't personally seen, and anybody can tell me if they have seen it, I haven't seen any offensive line drills or footage. I know that's what everybody's really going to care about. DJ Lundy, the talking linebackers, man, the linebacker that everybody's raving about, it ain't Lundy. It's Steven Dix, of the freshman. Steven Dix is getting rave reviews right now. Everybody, they're saying this kid is the next FSU linebacker, right? He's the next Bradham, Lawrence Timmons, Telvin Smith. Steven Dix Jr. is the one that everybody is talking about in that linebacking core. And, of course, Amari Gaynor. But I'm more so talking about the new guys. Coach Marv loves Amari Gaynor from his interview. But that Steven Dix Jr. is looking impressive. I saw some vids and pictures of Marvin Wilson going up against the transfer. Okay. Haven't seen that one, but Marv was probably whooping up on him. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing some offensive line drills and how those guys look. Defense won me this game. Defense has been carrying me. Um, Coach Atkins interviewed. He had some good things to say about. So the one freshman that's really been standing out, I think, is Schrader. Everybody's been raving about him. I didn't think he had a chance to really see the field as a true freshman. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. There may be a chance you see Thomas Schrader. Atkins had some good things to say about Darius Washington, about Donta Lucas. So that's positive things. I just got to see him on tape. I just want to see him on tape. But I saw some quarterback throws, and I thought Jordan Travis threw the ball well. And I was really impressed by Black's revamped throwing motion. Like, I was like, okay, that man been putting in the work this offseason. And if he can translate that to the football game, we might not have to rush Purdy out there. Do you think college football is better than the NFL? Me personally, Jalen, I've always liked college better than the NFL. Something about it is like it's more intimate. It's more, you just care about it more. I don't know how to really explain it. The passion of the game, all the pageantry that goes with college ball. I've always personally loved college ball more than pros. Professional football almost seems like NFL almost seems too business-like, right? And you feel like on a college level they allow these kids to really express themselves more or something. I don't know. This is always how I felt about it. But yeah, so I still want to see some offensive line footage. Quarterback footage to me looked really good. Again, Black impressed. I thought Jordan looked decent in his throwing. I don't think I saw any throws where he was really trying to push the ball downfield. Saw a couple throws from Purdy that looked solid. Come on, face mask, really? What else we got? Saw some receiver drills. Saw Jerry Jones get an interception. The only thing I'll say about Jerry Jones' interception is it was against a no-name walk-on receiver. Got to start somewhere, but I would like to see him go up against a Warren Thompson or something. Warren Thompson, that's another one, man. I don't know if Warren Thompson's going to be any good. But physically, that kid is big and can move. He reminds me a lot of like Kelvin Benjamin. He's not as big as, but he's a big, fluid athlete. He reminds me of some Kelvin Benjamin. And I think he has a better work ethic than Kelvin Benjamin. Warren Thompson is a player to watch. And if he can emerge on the opposite side of Tamarion Terry, watch out. Watch out. But what I've seen, though, the intensity is through the roof in practice. Because the kids want to play. I'm glad to see that intensity's up. So I never had a problem with them playing music in the practices and stuff. But I did used to have a problem with all the joking I think I used to see from the previous staff during practice. I don't have a problem with music if you can keep your focus and attention. But when it seems like you're more focused on dancing to songs than practicing, then we have a problem. So I'm glad to see the intensity and the focus is right there. There are less crybabies in college than the NFL. Well, again, NFL is more business-like, Jalen. When you get to that level, now guys aren't playing for the pass. Like some do, don't get me wrong. But majority of these guys now, they're playing for the checks. They're playing for, they're trying to get their money up. So instead of, I don't blame them. I never blame these guys for trying to do that. But it does take all out of the passion of the game where you're watching guys now begging to be traded or I'm sitting out a year. And it's like, in college I don't have to, you don't have to worry about that. You get to go out there, you get to watch whoever your favorite team is. You get to watch them play hard every Saturday. Whereas in the NFL, teams tank for draft picks, all business like, and that's in all the pros, right? Even though I think the NBA product is better. And talking basketball wise, I think the NBA product is better than the college basketball product. I actually find it hard to watch college basketball sometimes because man, they don't call fouls. Like sometimes it's hard to watch college basketball sometimes. Do you think about this mission take? What do you think about this mission takeaway thing? So yeah, they're doing the. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler, but you're talking about the thing like if you make a play in practice, they like put you on social media or whatever, something like that. That's what you're talking about, right? I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what you're talking about. If that is what we're talking about, I don't care. Like that's cool. It's a cool thing to get out there, and it's a good way to get out, I guess, on social media. It's better than the damn backpack. I'm gonna say it's better than the damn backpack. Now I'll put it at that. It's better than that damn red Louis Vuitton purse FSU was carrying on the sideline for that one season. So I'm cool with mission takeaway. Better than the damn bag that we was toting around. Right. Its defense gets a turnover in practice. They like put it on Twitter or something. Yeah, I've seen a couple of those. Yeah, I mean I don't have a problem with it. It's a good incentive. Kids, let's be honest. This is a new age, I don't know how I know Jalen's young. I don't know how some old some of you guys are. But kids do everything nowadays for likes and Instagram notices and everybody wants to be trending on social media now. So I think the kids probably like it. So if the kids are down for it, to me it's a solid look, no big issue. Is it game changing or nothing? Not so. It's not like game changing, but it's better than the damn turnover bag or whatever we had. Jalen says, "Do you know Joe Burrow is older than Saquon?" Yeah, Joe Burrow was like a red shirt. He was a Joe Burrow was in Ohio State for a few years, but yeah, he's older. Like been half-assed at paying attention to this game while talking to you guys. But like always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Get this gameplay going and just quickly touch on all the stuff going around Florida State. Again, we're gonna go more in depth on Noles night tomorrow. But I figure I come out here, give my own unfiltered thoughts on a lot of things going on. Bum, 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 bum. I saw they had the running backs catching a lot. Yeah, I figured that. That was one of the things we figured when Norvell came over. They're going to use a lot of guys. Again, I said it. I think it's possible. I think a guy like Webb could have 500 yards rushing and 500 yards receiving. Like I think it's very possible you'll get, if not Webb, you'll get somebody like over 1,000 yards of total production. I believe it. That's my bold prediction for the season. One of these running backs are going to have over 1,000 total yards, not counting kickoffs. Right, so I'm not going to count kickoffs or kick returns. I'm simply going to count catching and running the ball. Yep, you sure did, Tyler. Yeah, Coach Leonard Hamilton has right now, basketball wise, FSU is recruiting like Kentucky or something, right? Coach Ham has been nasty. So when that basketball thing picks up next year, FSU's gonna man. They're putting together a product on the field. Excuse me, on the court. Now, granted, this is basketball, and we know how basketball is. All these guys that FSU just recruited, they're going to be one and done guys. They're going to play next year, and then they're going straight to the NBA. So Coach Hamilton. I'm not one of them. I'm not gonna sit here and say championship or bust. That's crazy. But next year, man, that's gonna be the year to try to win a basketball championship for sure. I'm just happy that FSU's basketball is in the place that it's in. It's like Leonard Hamilton is reminding me of how Bowden built the football program. You know what I mean? Like that's what Leonard Hamilton has been to Florida State basketball. What Bowden was the football is what Ham has been to the basketball, and you're starting to really see it now. This game's almost up. We were able to, man, we were down 14-0, and we were able to come back and get this one. As much as I hate Miami, the jewelry they were on defense and offense, the jewelry. Right. I hear what you're saying, Jalen. Like, obviously, we don't fool with them canes. But from an optics standpoint and from a advertising, what else am I trying to say? Like, just from a recruiting the turnover chain Miami had, that was really ingenious, to be honest with you. That was a good look. It was a great look. Get a turnover. It fit Miami. It was South Florida. It was a big Cuban link gold chain with a big U like that. That's Florida, South Florida, all the way. It fit the program. It was perfect for them, and it was ingenious to use and to start that. And instead of FSU having a turnover spear or turnover tomahawk or something like that fit Florida State, they went and got a red backpack. A red backpack. So the turnover chain was very smart by Miami. You gonna play another game? I might. Let's see who I play next. I might. This game was a whooping. So we'll kneel and get this one over with. Let's see who I play next. But yeah, I'm glad I just got to touch on a lot of this good stuff. Don't forget to write down those rosters' names. You know what, Jalen? I'm gonna do it right now. Absolutely. I gotta find a pen. There's a pen. I'm gonna write down your name right now and try to add your roster, see what you're working with on the roster tip. Got it. I got it. That's good. Hearing a lot of stuff that we will get Arnold. Well, quite frankly, Arnold right now is a must get. So I said, remember, we were talking about safeties a while ago. And I said FSU, and at that time, we had Collier on the board, Amari Harvey on the board, and Terry Arnold. And I said, because we were talking about, I think, what's his name? He ended up going to Florida, Dakota Watson or something like that. One of those safeties. Everybody was like, should we pick this kid up? And I said, we don't need to focus on him because we got, 3 big-time safeties that we need to focus on. Well, we missed on Collier. He committed to Florida today, which is, it is what it is. I always question, like, kid like Corey Collier, you grow up a Florida State fan. Just as recent as a month or two ago, you sit here and you say FSU's been your dream school. Yet you choose Florida. You can't say it's a business decision because Florida DBs don't do anything in the pros. FSU gonna get you where you want to be in the pros as well. But anyway, we missed on Collier. Auburn is trending for Mari Harvey. I still don't know where that recruitment went wrong. Like I still don't know what happened there. Not understanding how that happened. But Terran Arnold's probably a better player than Harvey. I don't know if he's better than Collier, but I would take Arnold over Harvey. But Arnold now is like a must take. FSU, and I know we're fighting with Bama for him. That is a must get now because you missed out. And the other safety that we might have had in the wings was Dink Jackson, and I don't think FSU really went after Dink like that. And now Ole Miss is looking like the team for Dink. So right now FSU's at a standpoint where it's like Terry and Arnold or bust. And that kind of sucks. Yeah. That's another thing, though. It'd be interesting to see how if the Big Ten or in Pac-12's decision to not play ball will that affect recruiting. Now, ultimately, I don't think it would necessarily affect recruiting in the sense of these kids are going to play there the following year, and everybody will assume there'll be a season next year. So, from that standpoint, probably doesn't affect it, but it's still interesting to see if maybe kids decide they don't want to go to those conferences because of the pandemic and those decisions of not having a season. But yeah, we need Arnold, Rod Orr. That's some good stuff that I'll probably touch on recruiting wise tomorrow. This particular live stream, I didn't do any kind of real research today. I just wanted to get on here, play some video games, talk about the potential college football season being canceled. Mm-mm. 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 Who's this? Yeah, so one of the Florida players just put out that they, as a whole team, they had zero positive tests. That's what I'm saying. Like Florida schools seem to have been pretty well up on top of not on top of the whole situation. Here's another guy. He tweets, "I feel safer playing football than I do being at home." I'm telling you, man, not everybody don't come from the best background, man. Kids are gonna some of these kids they're telling you like they're more danger being back home than they are being on a football field. I might get on here and stream another game later, but I'm done today on this. Well, done right now on the streaming on the game. Might do something a little later. I'm on vacation now, so I got nothing but time. Got nothing but time to do whatever it is I want to do. Some kids need football because it could be there. Well, not only that, some kids just need to get out of situations in life, Jalen. Believe me, some people don't come from the best of backgrounds or the best communities. It ain't just about always. Of course, it is about making it in life, but it's also about just having the chance to make it in life. But I'm gonna cut it off here, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button like always. Subscribe if you haven't. Throw them comments on, and please share the video with your friends. Let's grow the community. It's your boy, Polk County Nole. Stay classy, Seminoles. And I'm out here.